Good morning. Sorry, I was in another meeting. I couldn't avoid. So everything now is shifted. I'm going to share my screen. And yes. Okay. Right. So, okay. Let me, I don't know. Let me try again. Okay. Um, okay. Everyone is seeing the page here. So today, let's start. I'm going to do a little bit of um admin here about the course. So today we're going to start module number 5, and last week was module 4. All the slides are here for today, inclusively, and later on I will put on the recording from the session. Okay, so just slideshow. Okay, any questions? Just let me know. I'm rushing here. So I've been reading all the participations in the forums, and I now see a trend. Some people are lagging, uh, and we still have two more weeks. And as we go next week, all the readings and preparation of materials are going to be used on the capstone project, which is module 6. And you can read about the capstone project on module 6. I have added more clarification notes. And also, the capstone project will be using all the previous materials we have been working since module 1. So, so, uh, we're going to be integrating everything, and we're going to be writing a proposal that we are going to implement or try to implement in our domain, department, college, office. The idea is that after you have taken this program, then you are in some, you have already some capabilities of developing something additionally, and also, well, join other colleagues from your department or office to try to get some product that is useful for everyone. Remember, this program is training the trainer, so I expect that some of you are continue participating, and this program also will invite you to participate in different events related with AI topics, like talks or seminars or workshops. Okay, so please try to catch up with all the participations in the discussion forums. And also, I've been visiting some of your notes, and I still have 5 participants whose pages are still missing, although some of them have the link, but they do not work. So please review the participants page and see if the link there takes to your notes, to your learning activities and experiences notes. Okay. Um, any questions, observations? Okay. Right. Okay. So
I have a question.
yes, Jeff.
Um, so I'm going to be trying to complete everything before I actually leave. I'm going to be out at a conference,
Hmm.
and I'm leaving next Wednesday.
Okay.
And I'll be back the following Friday, which of course but I'm going to try to participate on that Tuesday while I'm at the conference, but it will depend on what's happening at the conference, right? So I
Okay.
can't guarantee. So the presentations for the capstone projects, is that that's probably going to take more than 1 week, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, at least at the end of the 6th week, you should have the draft, and maybe if everyone agrees, we can add an additional week so everyone can just shape up their notes and participations, and also try to polish their capstone project presentation. And then we will probably I will ask you to provide me a PDF so I can put it in one of the folders of our repository so people can browse through the different capstone projects, and
Okay.
also having only a single format, because right now everyone is has their own way of presenting the information, even like a spreadsheet, a Google Doc, or a PDF, and then um, has to be well, we'll try to have it in a single place, and then so everyone can access the documents and the capstone projects, because it's going to be an experience, and also it's going to be part of our life history of this cohort. So we will continue being in touch, and we will continue participating, but because at some point we are defining uh, a community of practice. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, someone's saying lightning talks might not even work. I think,
What?
yeah, I tend to agree. But anyway, I'm going to go back on mute.
Lighting. Okay. Yeah. So we will plan together a way of having giving everyone a chance to talk about their capstone project and talk about the relevance and how they pretend to implement it. So yes, so I know we are about 25 people, so we cannot do it in a single session. So we will try to find a way of disseminating all the different products. No, we're not going to be, well, we will find a way. So for the moment, let's try to organize our materials in order to have some product in the next 2 or 3 weeks at most. Okay. Any more questions, Jeff? Did I answer your? The recordings will be online, and also, and yes, we have the different discussion forums, or just send me an email. Okay. Okay. All right. So what were your experiences from last week about critical thinking? You were giving two papers about bias, and also about the stochastic parrot. Any observations you want to add for everyone? Anything interesting or boring? Was it a challenge? It wasn't. No comments? Wow.
Carlos, I can add a comment.
Okay.
I ended up going down a rabbit hole after reading Stochastic Parrots
Okay.
and really thinking about what does it mean for me to learn? So stochastic parents talked about, well, all it is like Bayesian probability to give output. And I'm like, but how do I don't do like I don't know that that's not how my brain works to do that. So it sent
No.
me down this rabbit hole to really think about what does it mean to comprehend something? What does it mean to understand something? And I found there's a lot of opinions about that online from philosophers, really thinking about what does it mean to comprehend or understand or so anyway, that's one comment I have about the
No,
readings.
I mean, yeah, I saw a couple of readings where they are discussing that when large language models are being trained, so they split all the text into words and parts of words, and they then they take those parts of words and put them somewhere in some database. It's like a vector space, and all the words that are close related by some semantics will be there. So when the model is trying to give you an answer, it will go there and take different parts and compose a phrase. But the large language model has never acquired some meaning. So if you say share, the large language model doesn't know what is a chair. It only knows that when people are talking about chair, they will probably talk about tables and rooms, and people sit on chairs, and also chairs will have four legs, some of them. And so, for example, there was another uh, paper I was reading about ontology. So when a person is saying, "Well, I can imagine a tree," but does the large language model also imagine a tree? Can you ask the large language model to give you a description of the tree? And then probably it's going to be very different because as you remember in model number one, we ask you to create a concept map, and every people or every person learns in a different way. So how do we learn? There are different theories how to perceive this, and so when people ask you to create a concept map or a mind map, then what you're trying to do is to download all your information, or and downloading all the information, there's going to be some structure, and everyone's has a different structure. That's why when you were reviewing all the concept map from different people on this cohort, everyone had a different way of showing the concept map because everyone has a different way of building their knowledge, their new knowledge. And when you're trying to retrieve that knowledge, you are downloading some structure, and everyone has a different structure. So imagine now with the large language models, they have no clue. They only know that some words, and when there's another mechanism called attention. So when they are building up a phrase, um, um, the white horse was running, and then knows more or less what is the next word, but it doesn't know the meaning of a horse. It doesn't know the meaning of running. So that's why large language models are still not intelligent. They're just like a parrot. Yeah, so it's a rabbit hole, and it's interesting, and there's a lot of philosophy behind, and from the educational standpoint of view, also it's going to be hard to mimic the way we think or the way we learned. Okay, so these two papers, you read them, and also you were asked to answer a couple of questions about them, and and you know what is bias, and also there were some examples, exercises where you were asked to detect some bias by prompting the different large language models and see how the bias is implicit in these models. Okay, all right. And the other one was just the parrot. stochastic part example. Okay, and you were asked to participate in all these four forums. So I'm checking what you are writing. And so the next module is going to be about governance. And again, oops, and again, let me escape this. Yes. Okay. Okay. So there's going to be two papers you have to read. One is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. They have a paper about AI governance, and also a different paper from UNESCO. It's also about AI governance, and they have very different. They're from very different points of view. So it will ask you to review these two papers and also the NIST paper uh, on the AI governance. Governance. You will see in this paper there's some functions, and in the reading you will see all this relationship between govern, map, measure, and manage, these four functions, and also you will see what is their their relevance and necessity when you're trying to build up a AI policy. And and so this is the NIST paper on AI risk management framework. And also in the links there is a website for this risk management framework, and you will see a couple of examples. And in these examples, there was one example about some university ruling about the use of AI in in campus, referring to autonomous vehicles, for example. And so it's interesting the way you can try to visualize about AI governance from two different points of view. The the one by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and another approach from UNESCO. So they have very different ways of viewing the the world uh, or the technology in the world. So again, if you read these papers, you will find very. I hope you find them useful, because at some point you're going to be using, and also you will be asked sometimes what is the type of AI policies your institution have. Do they follow the risk management framework, or do they follow like something similar to the UNESCO paper? Okay. And for this module, you will be asked to participate in 4 discussion forums. And so please don't forget to participate and also engage. Um, I see about probably 15 people, or maybe 18 people very engaged, but some other people from this cohort are lagging behind. So please uh, try to catch up. Okay, and today we have again Dr. Nathan Fritz from the University of Arizona Global Campus, and he will address another talk today. So I want to thank Dr. Nate to be here, and also thank you for also speaking. I don't want to be boring everyone else.
No, I mean, I appreciate the invitation. I'm glad to be here again with you guys. And I am weirdly excited to talk about governance. If you've known me for any length of time, you would find that statement somewhat surprising, because I have always been sort of a move fast and break things person. I would always rather just do something and ask for permission after the fact. I'd have great ideas for things I wanted to do in the classroom, and I wouldn't check with anybody until a week ago, I was program chair for first year writing for the global campus. So I could do that. I could tell my faculty how I wanted to try things, and I would always be willing to pivot, to admit that I was wrong, to admit that something I tried was a failure. But I was definitely in that mindset of let's just run with it and see what happens. But all of this AI stuff over the last several years has really made me appreciate governance. And so I'm excited to talk about it because I feel like I'm a convert. I feel like it's a dry topic that I think sometimes people can misunderstand. And I hope that I can kind of talk about it in a way that might help you crack the code and get jazzed about reading through those frameworks that Carlos is sharing with you, but also kind of inspire us all to make sure that we're an advocate for good governance and good risk management when we're building these things. So I realize governance itself, not super inspiring, but let me take a swing at it. Because I think, as we've been saying, when you hear about AI governance, you think about policies, you think about committees, legal review, acceptable use statements. You send a ticket over to your IT department and you never hear from them again. That's all that sort of bureaucratic structure that kind of confines and defines what we can and cannot do. But I want to suggest that governance is bigger than policy and much closer to the work you've already been doing throughout this cohort. My sort of light bulb moment is that governance is how we make choices together when technology is moving fast with limited visibility into the risks and implications. It creates the conditions for responsible action without requiring permission for every move. Every time somebody maps a possible use for AI, there is going to be that first question. Can it do this thing? Can it summarize a document? Can it analyze these student responses? Can it make a recommendation? That's all really important. That's part of the mapping and the conceptualizing you guys have been doing. Governance then is that question that comes after that. Not just can it, but should it? Under what conditions? What information are we giving it? Who checks the work? Who's accountable if it's wrong? And who gets to make those decisions? Those questions are not only for presidents and provosts, not just for IT, not just for formal governance committees. All those people are really important. But these are questions that need to be answered on a day-to-day basis when someone is just pasting information into a tool, or when someone decides that an AI-generated summary for their class is good enough. I was just in a meeting with Grammarly earlier today, and this is not public knowledge. This is not insider trading, but it's not public knowledge either. They are acquiring a tool called GPT-0, which you guys might have heard of. In fact, the University of Arizona explicitly forbids faculty from using GPT-0 on student work. And now Grammarly, one of our trusted partners, is buying them and is going to bake it in. That's a governance question, right? That's deeper than just, are we going to write a check? Are we going to roll this out? Which is why governance can't just simply mean a set of rules coming down from above. It has to include the people who understand the work, the context, and the consequences. So that's another, to me, another strength of what you guys are doing. You're not being asked to become compliance officers or to memorize the policies. Carlos is providing some interesting feedback for you guys. You guys are going to be able to discuss it on the discussion board, but you don't need to memorize those things. You don't need to become a full overnight expert. But you are the people who will be able to recognize when a decision has governance implications. And you can help people slow down and address that at the right moment. You will have the ability to recognize when a workflow raises questions about privacy or bias, transparency. You can help colleagues move beyond things like, hey, this works, toward what would a responsible, scalable use look like? So you can translate that broad principle into the realities of your particular team, your course, your process, your community, however you define it, on campus and across online. You can bring what you learn from those situations then back into the larger institutional conversation. You guys here, Carlos, myself, we're the ones who are helping the university learn what responsible governance needs to become. We're going to identify policies that are out there. We're going to talk about some of these things. But I think it's really going to be incumbent upon us to ensure that our voices are heard, not just in our departments and units, but also back with the Office of Responsible AI, letting them know that these are the questions we're seeing. These are the conversations we're having. Because the reality is that no policy is going to anticipate every use of AI that emerges. I taught high school for a while years ago. And one of the things that was really cool about the high school I was teaching at is that all the students got laptops. But we had turned off certain features in the laptops that students couldn't chat with each other. They couldn't listen to music all day. They were basically there for them to work on schoolwork. But then we started to roll out some features we thought would be really useful to them pedagogically. I was teaching English classes to ninth graders, and one of the things I thought would be really cool would be to give them all Goodreads accounts so they could feel more interactive in how they were reviewing the work that we were doing in class. Well, they found out that there was a chat feature on Goodreads, and suddenly Goodreads enrollments on campus skyrocketed because students realized that was a way to get around the chat block we had put on their laptops. It was kind of related to what we're talking about here today, which is we made a decision. And then once that decision was live in the wild, we realized it wasn't the best decision. We needed to make some changes. We need to pivot. We needed to create new policies, new guardrails, new requirements. And I think that's what's happening with AI. AI feels like a room full of ninth graders sometimes, where they're just shouting things out all the time. Hey, here's this new tool. Here's this new possibility. Here's this new thing. And it's overwhelming and exhausting. But governance is how we're able to have that conversation in a sane way that is aligned to our mission and values. Because I feel like a mature institution is one that it's not that we have all the answers. It's that we're one that knows how to work through uncertainty without giving up. We persevere even when we don't know what the next step might be, because we're guided by our ethics, by our mission, by our values, by our contribution to what it is we're doing here in higher ed, here at the University of Arizona system. So, you know, as you read through some of the governance policies, as you think about data and risk management, as you draft your discussion board posts, just remember that this isn't about knowing everything. It's about creating a mindset where you're able to think of governance as a learning system. We try something in a bounded and thoughtful way. We pay attention to what happens. We ask who benefited, but we also ask who struggled, what was missed, what new questions were surfaced in the process. And so then we revise the guidance. We share what we learn. And over time, this process becomes institutional knowledge. That's how we create good governance to make this whole process visible. It helps us explain why we're using AI to begin with, what role we want it to play in the work or the learning, and where the boundaries are. When those decisions are clear, people can move with greater confidence. They have a shared foundation for acting responsibly. Last time I was here, I asked you to think intentionally about where you want to engage with AI in your work, not simply where you could. And I asked you to consider the parts of your work that depend on your judgment, your creativity, your care, your entrenched relationships, your sentimentality, your emotion. Governance is really the next step in this conversation, because once we decide where that human insight and our human capacities matter, governance is how we protect that space. We make the responsibility clear. It's how we keep the institution's values present when the faster option might be just to roll something out. So again, as you read through and navigate these AI policies, just think about what decisions are the policies trying to help us make? What value is it trying to protect? Uh, I have to say, you will also encounter situations where the current policy doesn't give you a complete answer. Carlos might have talked about this already, but back in January, I was on campus with some people from the Responsible AI office, and a couple of vice provosts came into the room and they said, "Okay, guys, show us the AI policy." And we had to pull up 7 different pages that two of which were kind of contradictory, and they were really tough to get to. It was an impactful moment because we were feeling confident that the policies were there, but we realized that they weren't always clear in how you could find them or how you could act on them. And sometimes you'll find policies that don't give you a complete answer. But I just want to say that that doesn't mean we failed. It doesn't mean that we messed up. Maybe we can link things better, but I think it does mean that you guys are the ones who are pushing us past the edge of what we already know. I think we don't often know how to align policy until we break something, until we risk something. I know that there's a good argument for having the policy completely articulated before you roll out a scaled tool. And I believe in that. But I think pilots and the work that you guys are doing are the things that help us understand where those barriers are. So I think that's where you guys can be the most valuable. You can help ensure that all of this uncertainty becomes an invitation to think together rather than an excuse to keep breaking more stuff. AI governance, I think, really is about preserving our ability to choose what we value and what we automate and what we hold on to as the workforce of higher ed and the stewards of the learning for our students. So to choose where AI can expand our capacity and where it might diminish something essential is the real work of governance. And so I hope you can keep that in mind as you're working through the material this week. And again, I hope you can share that with us and with your teams so that we're all aware of what's happening in the fields, that we know where you guys are pushing, where you guys are finding gaps, and what questions we really need to answer institutionally. So I don't know, how did I do, Carlos? Is governance a little bit more exciting now?
I hope everyone. I've seen a couple of comments on the discussion forums about what we are missing at the university, and also what they some people feel that we need to have some definitive policies about it. And also you can see different discussions when on the previous modules we posted a couple of situations and people were trying to see if there was something wrong with that, or should we be allowed to do that using AI for solving specific things, or when we should not be using AI. But remember, at the end, as humans, we have to review whatever is coming out from the different models because they probably doesn't make any sense. And we know that sometimes they are biased, so we cannot just take whatever comes out from the model and just copy and paste it. And there was a question in the chat about if we have a policy for using a notebook LM. Um, there is no policy for the moment explicitly, but we have to, as educators, we have to think about the learning strategies we're going to design for the students. So remember, we want to use AI to increase the cognitive capacities of a student. So defining a good strategy to incorporate AI for helping students to learn, that's the best, that's the work we have to do. So we have to change the way we were working before AI, and now we have to think strategically what we can do in order that AI can be used, but also we cannot uh, delegate all the learning to the large language models. Okay, so we need to be, it's a never-ending conversation, but we need to have it at some point. Deb, you
Yeah,
have a
thank you
question?
for that. Am I on? Um, I was asking about the notebook LM just because I think we're having this AI Foundations in Healthcare certificate starting up in the College of Nursing with the College of Engineering. So a lot of what I've seen in our students that take informatics that they don't have a lot of computer experience. Um, so it's kind of hard like catching them up on things. So one of the things I've noticed in this class, I've heard so much, it feels like I'm drinking out of a fire hose. I don't know if I'm the only one feeling that. But then, I'm reading something and I'm like, oh, I want to read more about that. And it's just, there's so many bunny trails that we can start looking at. So one of the things I'm concerned about is starting our students off with responsible use, knowing that you can't trust AI, that you always have to fact check it. And I really want them to understand like how the prediction models and the BERT situation happens too, because otherwise I've seen a lot of people and even faculty saying, oh yeah, I just, made my course and cut and pick. I'm like, oh my gosh, so I'm like, those things worry me for one. I don't want AI teaching my course, but we want to have um, students and healthcare personnel have a healthy, I don't want to say distrust, but you have to know what's feeding your any healthcare decision models and things like that. So long story short, I want the students to use Notebook LM because I want to force them to be able to use some of these technologies and increase their cognitive capacity quickly and force them to use something like with low stakes. The other thing I was thinking of is that how do we get our departments more interested in AI and how important this is on a university level? Because sometimes we get the like the later notices, oh, we have this fellowship and the champion program, and sometimes it's buried. So sometimes our departments don't think that AI is a huge university push. So how do we explain that to our departments, or is there a strategic plan that we could show them to get everybody as interested as we are, and maybe not at the geeky level where we probably are right now. And I can't wait to read the policy, but um, like, what would be your suggestions on that? Because I think the U of A push is right there. And one of the things that was really interesting is that a HAI report where U of A isn't even appearing in the top universities. And I'm like, that shouldn't be. So like, how do we as champions go forth and encourage us to explore this uncharted territory, especially in healthcare? Thank you.
Okay. Anyone wants to answer that or experience? Uh, well, if not, I can give my opinion. Technology has always impacted society, and right now there are technologies being developed that still is not out there. Like, for example, large companies like Intel, they you can buy a computer with Intel chips in it, but right now they're developing chips that will be out in the market in 8 years or 12 years. Okay. And also we have this problem, or we are conscious about the problem that AI has a large impact in the environment. So right now there's some technology being developed how to minimize the energy consumed by systems that run AI models. So new chips. So besides NVIDIA, there are new companies developing chips that will optimize or reduce the size of the computing systems. Relating to education universities, my impression is that they are very conservative societies. Although as university, as academics, we are part of the society. So the way we have been professionally shaped, we are critical thinkers. We read, reread, try to find out what is said behind the lines. We are very slow in adapting things. So when new technology arrives, the first thing we do is, okay, let's go slow, and then ask, where can I use this technology? And technology, every time a new technology comes in, there's always some reaction from the academic community, like when computers came, personal computers, and then there, I'm sure there was conversation. Why should a person use a word processor? Or I can go back. Why should students be allowed to use calculator at the classroom? And then the internet came. Oh, why should we use internet uh, be used at the classroom? Oh, our students are navigating using their phones in the classroom. So there's always this reaction to new technologies, and AI, I don't see different with the compared to the internet. There was a every time there's like a revolution, and right now AI is a revolution that is still not defined. Things change very fast. Now they're talking about general uh, intelligence, artificial intelligence, and also, of course, you also see these large companies which own the large language models competing among themselves, and these are the players which define some of the technology that we're going to be seeing in the future. So, what is in the news the last 2 or 3 days? Apple is suing OpenAI. Why is Apple suing OpenAI? Or, well, OpenAI is trying to do hardware, and he just hired a couple of Apple people who were involved with the iPhone. So now OpenAI can have their own hardware. So things changed, and what we need to do is know how to confront these new technologies and then try to assimilate them, analyze them critically, and then see how we can use this in our learning environments. Because at the end, we still have the mission of trying to help people facilitate their learning. And that's one of the, the tasks we have been doing for most of our professional life. So, so don't be scared. Just try to make the best of it. And then, of course, rely on our communities of practice. There will be some experts, there will be some people who are just beginning, and then the conversations can continue and then support um, the people who are just coming into the field. And we have we have people from every different background and technology experience, so we can only help ourselves and try to assimilate the technology and move fast because everyone is using AI. We cannot close our borders to AI because it's in our daily lives. Even with the Alexa at home, everything is AI. Okay, so now we can just try to see how can we take advantage of this and have better learning outcomes with our students. Was my comment very radical? No, hope not.
Do we have like a strategic plan from the university someplace, or is it the responsible use website that would be good to demonstrate that the U of A is going in that direction, or that it's a university?
Well, the first thing that we notice is that the U of A has an AI fluency program, and this program, the AI Campus Champions, is one of the programs. We have different talks that are weekly, like AI info sessions, the AI insights. These are talks which are being organized by the Office of Responsible AI. And also, we are interacting with different offices and departments, trying to help them assimilate these new technologies in their daily tasks. And one of the, well, we have been keeping like best practices. The best practices are sometimes building a prompt library for specific purposes. And these prompt libraries can be iterated in order that the prompt gives you closer results of what you want, and also will help newcomers to AI to just take the prompt and use it. And then later, when they feel more comfortable, they will start to adapt it. Because at the end, remember that the interaction with these AI systems is a conversation. It's not just like a simple input. Like when you go to the bank or the teller machine, you just give an input, there's an output. With large language model, there is a conversation because you're checking out the output, and also um, what you will learn is that you have to have some basic knowledge of what you want to do. There's this word which is used very frequently currently, which is vibe coding. And you will hear people, oh, I did a vibe code and created a website in 5 minutes. I just told them that I want a website that sells whatever, clothes or shoes. And then the AI system will build a large language, a website. But when you are working with education or learning, then you know what you want. So you have to give some specifics to the model. I want to create a guideline for a workshop that will be at 2 hours on this topic. And the participants' background on AI is this and that. And then please provide me a guideline with activities which are meaningful, which are pertinent, which are modern, which are experiential. And also, please try to organize the materials in increasing order of complexity. So you have to know all the different details when you're doing a planning to provide that to the large language model. Otherwise, the large language model will just give you an answer unrelated with anything. So you have to learn how to use these AI models in order to improve your efficiency. So before just trying to design a course with all these instructional design strategies and learning theories, it will take you 6 months, right? And writing in detail every activity by the hour, writing the exercises, providing the answers, etc., etc. That was a very lengthy process that we did before. Now with AI, we can speed up a little bit, but we still have to check out whatever comes out from the large language model, if it makes sense, if it's well ordered, if the complexity is it is what it says it is, or what it suggests it is. So you still have to check everything, but you have like like a grad students that help you. But a grad student, they're just beginning, so you still have to check all the products until they get better, right? But I don't see other way. I mean, we cannot just say we're not going to use AI at all. We need to assimilate this technology. AI is not going to go away. I had a grad student um, that came with this saying that AI is like all these shiny little things that come on the dresses. Remember or on the balloons? There these small particles which are brilliant. What's the name? Glow starts with a G. Well, okay. Anyway, uh, you have seen all these materials that have all these shiny little things, and it gets over your dress. The glitter, yeah, the glitter. So AI is like glitter. It's not going to go away, right? You will see AI everywhere. Okay, so sorry for the joke, but it was an anecdote. Okay, good. So we have a good week coming, and we have good readings, and now we will see that there's a shift because we want to, at the end, in our capstone project, we have to incorporate all the different aspects of AI in order to create a policy, to create an AI product or artifact, and then okay. So if you have any questions, please send me an email. And also, some of you who may feel that you need additional help, just send me an email and then we will get in touch. My interest is that everyone finishes. We know that everyone has a different way of learning, but also we are part of a community. So as a community, we support ourselves and try to help everyone to achieve the same goals. Okay. So I'll see you next week. I'll be online. There's not going to be I'm not going to be in the library, but I'll be in line. Okay. So have a nice week and I'll see you soon.